Hi coffee lovers! I know most of you, just like me, were taught to rinse the paper filter once or even twice before starting brewing the coffee. But have you ever thought about why that is? And what are the pros and cons if I pre-rinse or not? Today I'm going to go through everything about it, and I hope you and I could learn something together. Coffee filter paper is just a small element in a great cup of coffee. But if you enjoy brewing with a filter that requires paper, whether you should buy a bleached or unbleached paper is a common question. And should you rinse the paper filters or not is another common question. Before we jump into these questions, let's talk about the history of filters. So what is the origin of the filter paper? Before the filter paper was invented in 20th century, people used the cloth filters to strain coffee. Melita Benz, the coffee-loving homemaker from East Germany, was tired of cleaning coffee grounds from cloth filters and believed there must be a simpler way to filter the coffee. After trying various materials and methods, she decided to experiment with her son's blotting paper. She cut the blotting paper to fit in that metal filter and added coffee grounds and water inside. After confirming that it didn't leave any residue in the coffee, she applied for a patent. On July 8, 1908, the coffee filter paper was officially patented, and she founded the Melita company later that year. Today, coffee enthusiasts enjoy using different methods with filter paper to brew coffee. Most people choose between bleached or unbleached paper filter. But which one is better? So the main difference between bleached and unbleached filter paper is, as the names suggest, whether it's bleached or not, either using a small amount of chlorine or oxygen bleach. Although the safety of chlorine bleach paper was questioned in the 1980s, it has been proven safe for brewing coffee. Additionally, bleached filter paper won't add any unwanted taste when you're brewing the coffee. However, there is still controversy over the environmental impact of the bleached paper. A study published in the Journal of Environment, Engineering and Management in 2012 found significant environmental impacts from chlorine bleaching process in the factories. In contrast, oxygen bleaching process have a lower environmental impact, and all major filter paper brands indicate the bleaching method on the packaging. The popular brands like Hario or Café, I believe they all use the oxygen bleaching processes. So whether we are going to pre-rinse or not, I think the main issue is the paper taste. So let's do the experiment together. So what we're going to do is, I'm using the same dripper, Vic 60, and one I will use the unbleached filter, and one I will use the bleached filter. And the last one will just the hot water. Let's try it out. Is there any paper taste in this water? Only water. To be honest, if you just smell these papers, it can't smell anything, but I believe there will have some taste after we put the water in. After these filters contact with the water, it smells like paper right now. But this one is like almost nothing. Alright, let's taste it. Just water. Nothing special. Yeah, it's very hard to find a difference. I mean, for me, it's almost the same. But this one, the smell is very obviously the paper smell. Clearly paper taste in this water. So I think if you are using this kind of bleach paper filter and you are worried about the paper taste, it's not a thing. You don't have to worry about that. You just buy the better brands to find this kind of very good quality bleach paper filter. But if you are using the unbleached paper filter, you have to pre-rinse. If you only rinse once, might not be enough. Let's try another pour. This is second pour, right? So it's already pre-rinsed once, and this pour will be the second pour. It's much better, but I would say still have a little bit paper taste. Rinse how many times depends on your body, your taste, how do you feel. Did you try it by yourself? Just try to rinse these paper filters and try this water? Maybe you should try it, because most filter papers should be ready to use after just pre-rinse once. But some may require this pre-rinse twice or even more, especially if you are very sensitive to this kind of paper taste. However, if you still detect a paper taste after pre-rinse twice or more, you might consider switching the filter brands, because cheaper paper filter may impart noticeable paper taste to your coffee. So if you are very sensitive to the paper taste, opt for those higher quality filter paper. that is not all. How about the temperature factor? When we pre-rinse the filter, the server and the dripper get a chance to preheat. But is that really work if you are not doing it completely? I would say that if you really want to preheat, you should fully preheat all the equipment before you brew. Try to put them into a big hot water sink for a while. But does it really make the coffee better? Let's do some tests here. So what I'm going to do here is this one is without the preheat. So this all room temperature, and next one I'll use the preheat one. Everything is already preheat in the hot water, and using the same coffee beans, Ethiopia Chavesa, and its nature process, and 15 grams of coffee with 240 milliliters of water. So for the not preheat one, I will not preheat and not rinse the paper filter. So I think the temperature is totally different. This one is 55 degrees Celsius right now, and this one is only 27. I'll rinse this filter first. And the coffee. This one is the preheat one, and this one is not preheat one. Let's test the temperature. This one is 67. This one is 62. It's like 4 to 5 degrees different. Is that will really cause different kind of flavors in this coffee? Fruity notes coming out, a little bitterness. The body is not very strong, but acidity is very clear. I think it's good, but it's kind of hot right now. Let's try this one. The aroma is good, acidity, not very much body inside it. The clarity is very good, balanced, a little bit bitterness, but not too much. To be honest, it's really almost the same, I would say. The only difference is the temperature, but the taste, the flavor, body, the acidity, and the aroma, for me, it's the same. If you drink the very hot coffee after you brew, maybe you should preheat your equipment. Otherwise, for me, it's really close. It's like same cup. So the next thing we should think about it is very important that you have to try to let the dripper and the paper filter stick together as much as possible. Each dripper has a different design of the ribs. These ribs will affect the flow rate and will affect the brewing results. If your filter is floating, then the dripper's ribs might not be working perfectly. So from this perspective, we should rinse the filter because it is easy to make them stick together. However, I think when I'm using the V60 dripper, it is easy to use your hand to adjust it before the brew. You can still achieve the same result. So I would say depends on the different dripper and how comfortable you are using them to decide if you really need to pre-rinse the filters. Like this Kalita is fit perfectly, you don't worry about it. But like this one, origami, I would say it will be more tricky because when we are using paper filter, it's kind of floating. They are not stick together. Even if you try to use your hand to adjust it, it's just not working. So using this kind of dripper, you might need to pre-rinse the paper filter. The last thing you should consider is the extractions. I would say this is the most important factor I will be worried about. First question is, how long will it take after the pre-rinse process? Why am I asking this is because after the pre-rinse, the filter is wet already, and the water temperature in the paper filter is decreasing every single second. I know there might be only 3 to 5 milliliters inside the filter, but still need to be thought about. And if you take too much time, the temperature might be kind of low before you start the brew. Another question is the moment when you put all the coffee ground inside the filter. The filter is already wet. And the same, you wait a long time before you brew. You might waiting for the water to achieve the temperature you want. You might talking to your friend, talking to your customers. That might cause some problems here. Because as long as the coffee ground contact with the filter is already wet. The extraction is starting. So that might cause over extraction. Maybe feel a little bit dry or bitterness in the end of the result. Let me help you to do the summary. First, buy a good quality of the bleached paper filter to avoid paper taste. Second, if you like your coffee pretty hot, preheat all the equipment before you brew. Otherwise, the taste is the same. Third, if you are using special rib design dripper, you might need to rinse filter to make it fit. Otherwise, just use your hand to adjust it. Fourth, if you don't want complicated or over-extracted coffee, beware of the timing if you have already rinsed your filter. Don't let the coffee bag sit there in contact with the wet filter for too long. So I hope I have answered all the questions here. If not, leave a comment below and tell me what you think. I really enjoy discussing with you. Don't forget to subscribe for more coffee contents in the future. See you around. Happy brewing!